channel. Today I'm doing my top favorite Makeup Geek products, and I've had a lot of requests lately to do this video for you guys, and I thought it would be kind of good to start doing more favorites like top 10, different brands, or different categories of makeup if you guys are interested. I know I always love watching those videos, and I know there's a ton of different Makeup Geek products out there, and you guys have been requesting that I do this for you. So I wanted to give you my favorites. I know you want to know my favorite eyeshadows, brushes, blushes, what I think about all those things. So if you want to see my favorites from Makeup Geek, then just stay tuned. Makeup Geek just recently came out with 10 new foiled shadows. They have 20 in total. I actually just recently placed an order for the first 10, and then I got an email saying that they were releasing the next 10. So I had that email around, I think it was like April 24th or something like that when I got emailed. So I would have waited to buy them all together, but I didn't know she was releasing more eyeshadows, so I just ended up placing an order for the other 10 after, because I wanted to give you guys kind of my thoughts and opinions, because I know these are really popular right now. They actually kind of remind me of the ColourPop ones, which came out after these foiled ones, I believe. They have that same kind of really creamy consistency, but the ColourPop ones I find best applied with your finger. These ones I can apply with a brush, but it has to be a really dense flat brush just to get an even layer, and you don't want to apply too much. They're ultra pigmented, but since they're so creamy, they could crease if you did build them up a lot. So I know some people with hooded eyes have an issue with the foiled shadows for Makeup Geek, but I know other people with hooded eyes who have no issues. So I think it really depends on your eyes and priming your lid. I don't need to prime my eyes. I have fairly dry lids, don't have an issue. I wore these out in the heat, held up fine, didn't crease. I don't have an issue with creasing at all, and I don't even need to use a primer. But I just wanted to mention my favorites from these, just in case you wanted to place an order yourself. The first shade I wanted to mention is called Starry Eyed, and this is what I have all over my lid right now. I did use all Makeup Geek product to do my face today, just because I wanted to show you what the blushes and eyeshadows look like on the face and eyes. So this is my favorite one. I'm going to do close-up swatches of all these, so don't worry, but I really like this from the new collection. Also, another favorite that I think will be amazing for the spring and summer is Pegasus, and I know a lot of people have already been talking about this shade, how it's going to be perfect for a pop of color on the lower lash line, and I agree with them because it is really gorgeous. And I'm more of a purple or blue pop of color underneath my eye, but this is definitely something that I don't typically gravitate towards, but I think it would be really pretty, so I think I'm going to try this out for myself. If you're uncomfortable wearing color like I am, I like just to pop colors underneath my lower lash line just for that added pop of color. Or sometimes I even put something like this in my tear duct, and it looks really pretty. So definitely recommend this, checking this out from the new collection in case you want some new color for the spring and summer. I think it's really pretty. There's two really similar purples in the foiled collection. One just came out, it's called Masquerade, and the other, which was in the original 10, is called Caitlin Rose. And I know Marlena made it so that 100% of the proceeds go towards Batten disease for Caitlin Rose. So if I were to pick one or the other, I would definitely go for the original purple, which is Caitlin Rose, just because you're supporting a good cause. And then another one I really like because it reminds me of MAC's Tan Pigment is called Grandstand. So that is another one of my favorite ones from the foiled. Honestly, you can't go wrong with any of the foiled eyeshadows. It's depending on preference and what colors you like, but those are just a select few of my favorite from the foiled eyeshadows. So I will go on to her original series of eyeshadows and tell you my favorites there. I did use a bunch of my favorites today to do the eye look I am wearing now, just so that you could kind of see what it looks like on my eyes. Love neutrals, as I said, love my mattes. As my transition shade in the crease, I did a combination of Beaches and Cream, which is that color right there, and Peach Smoothie. If I was to recommend one, depending on what you like, if you like more warm tone, I would definitely go towards Peach Smoothie, which I think I would recommend over Beaches and Cream, just because it is more unique. I find I don't have anything quite like Peach Smoothie, and I know it's talked about a ton on YouTube, so I definitely recommend picking that up if you don't already have it and you're looking for some new eyeshadows. I also get a ton of use out of Creme Brulee, which is kind of like a soft brown MAC type of shade, which you can just use to buff in the crease. This one's also really unique if you don't have a color like that. I know it can be a little bit intimidating, but just a little bit of that in your crease will warm up the eye look. It's called Chickadee. It looks kind of demolished because I did drop it. So that's why that one's like that. And then today I also used Frappe, which is a beautiful brown, Cocoa Bear, which is a perfect reddish brown if you like Brown Script by MAC or anything like that. Also really popular. And Corrupt. Corrupt is just a black. You wouldn't think what's so special about a black, but I've talked about this forever. You guys probably are sick of me saying it, but it is the most pigmented black eyeshadow on the market. You need to pick it up. If you don't have it, you gotta get it. If you're placing an order with Makeup Geek for the first time, or if you don't already have Corrupt, you gotta get on this. I'm gonna say it for like the 100th time, but it is my favorite black eyeshadow. I also really love this cool tone color right there. It is called Unexpected, and it's just beautiful in the crease. Highly recommend that if you need a cool tone color and that grabs your attention. It's one of my faves. Another really great color that I forgot to mention is Barcelona Beach. It's one of her more recent eyeshadows, not as recent as the foiled, but she did come out with this later when she came out with all these eyeshadows. But definitely worth picking up if you don't have that one. Love Barcelona Beach. It's more cool tone, which I think is nice for a change because I do typically gravitate towards the warmer tones, but it's definitely nice to have and one that I would highly recommend. I definitely recommend all the Makeup Geek eyeshadow range. It's just based on preference. You guys know I like my neutrals. They're great price and they have great quality, so it can't go wrong. I think for me, MAC is actually cheaper, but I still gravitate towards my Makeup Geek to buy, so that's saying a lot. For brushes from Makeup Geek, I have 3 that I wanted to mention. The first being the Soft Dome brush, and it looks like this. It is the perfect crease brush if you have smaller lid space or if you're working with a smaller area. Even for me, I wouldn't say I have overly small eye space. I'd say I probably have average, I'm not sure. But this works perfectly for me, and it's tapered as well. So you can really carve out the crease, but you can also buff out at the same time. So it's just perfectly shaped. I love this brush. I've talked about it in a couple favorites, I believe, already, and a bunch of you picked it up and absolutely love it. So I'm glad you guys love it too. Her brushes are affordable as well, so definitely something worth looking at. I know the eyeshadows get a lot of hype here on YouTube, but I don't think her brushes get enough hype, and they're affordable and great quality. The next brush I'm going to talk about is the angled stippling brush, and I would actually recommend the flat top one over this one, but it is out of stock and it's always out of stock, so that's why I'm mentioning this. If you're looking for something that's flat top, yes, it has an angle to it, so you kind of got to work with that. For the time being, if you don't have a flat top brush, this is really good as well. It's just angled. That's the only difference between it, and I really love it for applying and buffing out my foundation. It's just a great brush. Lastly, probably my favorite face brush, and this has a different handle because these ones are older and this is the newer design. This is the rounded blush brush, and I'm going to show you a comparison of a typical blush brush. This one is from MAC. It's the 116. So you can see that this is considerably smaller, different shape to it. I just wanted to compare the two because you can see how tiny. It's great for detailed blush, but this is actually really great for contour. And I wanted to show you one of my favorite contour brushes, which is also by MAC. It's the 109. This is really, really popular, especially for contouring. But you can see that the Makeup Geek one is still considerably smaller, which is amazing for contour. So you can really get in the cheekbone area, just pop a little bit. I don't really need to contour overly because I already have like fairly defined cheekbones and just a very angular face to begin with. So I really don't need to go heavy, and sometimes I do. But this is the perfect size to just carve out and buff out your contour. So if you want a no-brainer that is an affordable way to contour, this is so much better than the MAC one and so much cheaper, then definitely check out the rounded blush brush. I don't think I've heard anyone talk about this. Maybe one person mentioned it in passing or used it in a tutorial, but this is awesome. So definitely check this out next time you are making a purchase on Makeup Geek because it is one of my favorites and I know you will love it. Lastly, I'm going to talk about 3 of her blushes. And I have them in the compact form, but if you have a Z palette, I definitely recommend getting them in the pan form. I just started getting them in the compact because they were sold out at the time. And I have this thing where once I have a product in a certain packaging or whatnot, I have to get everything in that. So I couldn't switch over to pan, even though you can depot these. I just had kind of an issue, which we'll talk about in a second, but the first one I'm going to talk about is called Head Over Heels, and it is what I'm wearing today. It's a beautiful pink blush. This would be a perfect bridal pink, everyday pink, I would say, and it has this beautiful sheen to it. I think it has some silver iridescent in it. You can barely tell. It's pretty much matte, honestly, but it has this beautiful sheen. And I just think it makes your skin look so healthy and amazing, and I absolutely love it. And then this one I used to talk about all the time on my channel, if you guys have been with me for a bit. And it's called Smitten, and it's just the perfect peachy warm tone blush. I love this for when I'm tan. I could get away with it now, but I prefer tones like this when I'm more tan. So great spring summertime blush. Another fairly unique blush for me, which I have to be careful opening because I smashed this twice. I don't know why I'm laughing, it really ticked me off. But I dropped it, it kind of shattered, but I was able to press it. Then after doing that, I dropped it again. I think it was maybe a day later, so I couldn't believe I did that. And then it completely shattered, and I haven't put it back together yet, but it's quite easy to do if you've ever broken a powder product. Crush it up even more. Just do it. And then spray a bit of alcohol in it, and then use something to press it. So typically I will use like a quarter, or for something like this, like a loonie or toonie if you're in Canada. And you can just put it in a Ziploc bag and press it down. You can just repress it into the pan. The easiest way to do it, I was going to do a video on it, but it's so easy to do. Anyways, back to the blush. This is just a beautiful color. I use this a ton lately, but those would be my, did I even say what it was? It's called Rendezvous. Rendezvous. So those would be my 3 favorite blushes if you were to pick up blushes. I'm not myself a blush type of girl, but I do wear them enough. So Rendezvous, Smitten, and Head Over Heels. I'm gonna smash it again. I almost forgot to mention the pigments, which are probably my favorite thing. And this one is quite dirty because the packaging for these are really bad. I think she might have changed them now. I will double check and put it here if she did. But she used to sell these without the sifter in it, so you had to buy them separately. So you could fix it, but it's still so messy when you put that sifter in. So all my pigments that have the sifters put in just kind of exploded. This is my #1 favorite pigment. If you do not have this, you need it. So Afterglow Pigment, this is so beautiful on the lid. I have done a tutorial with this, I believe. I will link it down below if I can remember which one it was. But it is so gorgeous. And I have it in my inner tear duct right now. I have a little bit on my lip just to give it a kind of golden glow, just on the center of my lip. And then I also used it as a highlight. This is really similar to MAC Whisper of Guilt and Estee Lauder Heat Wave. And you can use pigments for virtually anything. Why not put them on your skin? You might be a little bit intimidated by the amount of shimmer this has, but I'm going to tell you how to make it work. Put it on a dual fiber brush, anything that has these nice light white bristles, because it's going to deposit less product. So say get something like this, put it on your cheeks, and then if you really want it to just blend in seamlessly with your skin, have a makeup sponge, wet it, and just lightly dab it on top. It's gonna blend it all in. It's gonna look like that wet look, you know what I mean? It's gonna look really good. So that's what I did today. So I have that on my cheeks, lips, all my points of highlight, inner tear duct, just to show you, because I absolutely love this and think you definitely need this one. Another pigment that is super unique that I fell in love with as soon as I saw this one I don't have a sifter in. This is an extremely chunky pigment. It's a little bit difficult to work with, but if you pack it on your lid, or even if you do a dusting of this over top of an eyeshadow, it just brings to life any look. I have this really crazy pink and purple plus of this makeup look on my channel, which I'll link below as well, that I wanted to use this pigment for, but I want to use this again in another tutorial because I've been dying to use it again. And it's a great pigment for if you're going out at night, dinner, anything like that. Such a beautiful pigment. And the last one I wanted to mention is called Insomnia, because it's a dupe for MAC Blue Brown Pigment, which is also really unique. It has this dual chrome. Depending on the lighting you look at it, it looks blue or it looks brown, hence the name of the MAC one, but this is pretty much identical to it if you've ever used MAC Blue Brown Pigment. So those are my recommendations from Makeup Geek. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I wanted to cut it down to maybe like a top 10 or something like that, but I did want to touch base on all the different categories. My eyeshadows in and of themselves would have been 10 plus. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please give me a thumbs up if you did, and if you like the idea of me doing more favorites videos, because I can focus on certain kind of products or brands or anything like that in case you want to know more of my favorite blushes, eyeshadows, lipsticks, things like that. Because I can definitely update those, because I know some of my videos that I did of those are really old, and obviously things change in like 3 years. So let me know what you think about that, and I will see you guys in my next video. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm doing my 27-week pregnancy update video, and I am actually filming this on Monday, which is my Mommy Monday. Usually I have my video up in a couple hours, but I wasn't able to film this past weekend because it was Mother's Day weekend.